audio tour thing.
Hello. So the two of you joining us? All right. Thanks for visiting us. Everybody here for a quick smile and seeing you.
That big door to go to the flight to get to the bridge. That's how you're gonna see that control room. It's in the island tour, okay? Hello there.
Hi.
Just to English?
Yeah.
All right. You'll see yellow symbols like this around. Just put your audio tour at it like a remote. No pressing, and listen like a phone, okay?
All right.
Enjoy your day.
All right. Yes, this is where they store the aircraft.
Really? This is the room?
Yeah, there's elevators that bring it up.
Oh yeah, because inside there's elevators that the planes go on, and then they'll bring them up to the deck, which I think is above us. And then the deck, they also store some on the deck, but they also take off on the deck.
Yeah.
It worked. I hear it. It's doing the thing. Do you hear it? You gotta scan it.
Where?
There, when you hear that beep. You can also turn the volume up on the controls. Okay. Yours is still going. And one's already finished. I know.
It's going to be a long wait. Are you okay with that? I'm in the Midway. Where are you?
Inside the old.
What?
The audio tour is actually pretty hard. So, remember at the beginning it said that the something like that is so the wheels can be at the bottom, so the wheels can be at the bottom of the split, so they can have.
So look at that ship going out.
That looks like the one that we're on, but smaller.
Well, a lot smaller.
Oh, that's a battleship, actually.
I don't know
That
what it is.
battleship is going.
Okay.
And we're on an aircraft carrier.
Like, so that bridge.
That's just whatever.
You want to go up to the deck? They must have installed that.
Oh, yeah. I can wait. We haven't pressed the flight deck button yet.
I saw the way that jumped out.
It's the hangar where we just were.
That's comforting.
Really?
Just squeaking.
Go ahead, folks. Yeah.
Like the elevator that they brought them from. Inside of the ship. That's crazy. It's so big that there's no entire human inside of it. Go back there. And then airplanes on top of it. I'm gonna do it on this helicopter. We're gonna go in it. What, their radars are still spinning?
Yeah, it's not working. It's not
It's
working.
broken, but we can still get inside of it. It's like one of those. It's like one of those passenger military cargo airplanes where they have the seats. But it's a helicopter.
Right.
This stripe right here is where the airplanes will take off.
Probably, I don't know.
You think they'll take off that way? And then land this way?
No, I think they probably take off that way.
And
I
then
don't,
land that way too?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Is that where they build the ship? There?
The bridge, yeah, probably.
Is that the bridge?
I think so. Let's look at this stuff first.
It's hard to look that we're on a boat right now. Looks like we're just standing in front of the Feel rock back and forth.
Try that.
Make all preparations for getting underway.
Just right here, usually, like in this bay.
Is it pretty cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I got a free audio tour. You can point to that stuff and they'll tell you all about that airplane. I think if you wanted to, you can bring your own headphones. It has a little headphone jack. They don't have to pull it up. There is one of those ones that looks like that.
Oh yeah. So they would take the planes would take off that way, obviously.
That way? Yeah, and then are we able to see? And there would be a string attached to it. Slingshot it off the runway. And then yeah. And there wouldn't be any gate there, it would just fly off into the distance. But that audio tour, did you hear what the mannequin of the guy was? He crashed into the water because the catapult didn't make his plane go fast enough.
Yeah. We can walk out on this. This is scary. Should be an audio tour on this to tell you what was this for. So it's a naval base over there.
That's a Navy base.
Yeah.
And then we're on an aircraft carrier right now. Hard to tell. You can see the propellers.
I don't know, because we're in the shallow bay.
That's why you don't feel it rocking back and forth. I'm pretty sure it's like lifted off of the ground, so the propellers are not in the water. Because there are these airplanes in the really wavy, they roll off the boat. There's an audio tour called Man Overboard. Let's see that. What is this? Where's the drawing? I'm gonna walk on this one.
Let's go. You wanted to come to the aircraft carrier.
Yep.
Do you think it still runs, this battleship?
I don't know. You'd have to work on it a little bit.
They're still making they turned into an airplane this year. I'm gonna do the green one.
to go to full power. They'll do that by taking your fingers and shaking them. He looks at all the gauges in his cockpit. He says, it looks good to me. He turns and salutes the gentleman standing about where he is supposed to be standing. Salutes him, telling him, I have permission to leave the ship now. He returns and salutes the guy over here. You can't see him. He's just outside the fence in a green jacket.
Those
Gives him
things
the
lifted
signal to
up
launch you,
right
and
there.
you're leaving. You will leave in 2.5 seconds. Right here, at the end of the ship. You'll go from 0 to approximately 150 miles an hour to a at which time the water looks blue and really green and cold and anything you can think of that isn't good. So you take your airplane and you fly it. The first thing you want to do is get away from the ship. So after you take off, you're going to make on this catapult a left turn of about 40 degrees, level the wings. You're not going to climb up though. You're going to stay at about 400 feet because there's some people circling at 800 feet and they're coming back to the ship because they're hungry and want food. You don't want to go climbing through there. After you get about 7 miles out, you're away from that group, but now you can climb up and go about your business. Okay? Let's take a look and see how this comes together. First of all,
Move on.
airplane, the white bar in front is called the launch bar, and it goes into the shuttle. We put this yellow bar, or in this case a white bar, and tie the aircraft to the deck. This allows you to go to full power without holding the brakes. You do not want to be holding the brakes when they fire the catapult. You will leave with 2 blown tires. Won't mess up your takeoff very much, but your landing is going to be one fun ride. So, the whole back bar allows you to go to full power without holding the brakes. This unit sits underneath the deck. It's a single railroad track type device with wheels and wings coming off the bottom of the frame. Wings hooked to pipes that are under the track. The track takes superheated steam through this valve right here, pushes these pistons down the track and accelerates you to flying speed in 2.5 seconds. Okay? Now that valve right there takes into account 3 things. The first one is air temperature because that's the function of horsepower. The second one is going to take into account you're going into the wind so that it'll tell how much steam we're going to have to give you to go with the flight of your engine at full power to get you off the deck, and away you will go. The guy will look at you. You will salute him, telling you you have permission to leave the ship. He's going to tell you to go to full power. You go to full power, check everything out, make sure it looks good. The salute says, I am ready to go. He returns it, goes down, touches the deck, and this kid over here that you can barely see reaches down and hits the button. Catch-22 to this problem is simple. You cannot see him hit the button. So the whole back bar is going to hold you in place at full power. You're going to sit there, lock the throttle at full power, grab the do-nothing bar. There's another do-nothing bar over here, so you're not trying to fly the airplane. You're going to put your head back against the headrest because it's going there with or without your permission. It's a lot better if you put it there. And you'll be the first to know when the kid hits the button. You will go from here to the end of the ship in 2.5 seconds. And when you get there, the water looks really, really big and deep and everything. You will then take controls as you leave the ship and start to fly it. The first thing you're going to do is make a left turn on this catapult to about 40 degrees. You're going to level off at about 300 to 400 feet and stay there for 7 miles. reason for that is there's people circling at 800 feet over the ship. And they're coming back to the ship. You know why? Why do we come back to the ship? Anybody?
Fuel.
Huh?
Fuel. Not enough fuel.
Say it louder. I can't hear you.
So you can land.
Fuel. More fuel.
Well, why do you care about landing? What'd you say?
Why do you care about it?
You're coming back to the ship because this is where the food is. It's a guy thing. We found out when we started having lady pilots that they did the same thing. They get back to the ship because they want to eat. So you don't want to be in their way. So you stay at 400 feet till you get away from them, and then you climb up and go about your business. Meanwhile, they're landing and getting ready to eat. It's a guy thing. Now, this is what we were talking about. See the valve? When that valve opens, it pushes that piston down the track, taking you with it. Then it runs into the wall of water. This guy here is called the grabber. He grabs and drags it back because we're launching an aircraft every 90 seconds. It's actually every 45 because there's two tracks, but they're canted. So this guy goes 45 seconds later, this guy goes 45 seconds later, this one fires again. So we get you out of the way quicker. Now, the most important part of this whole process is that holdback bar. That allows you to go to full power without holding brakes. They're going underneath. 2 greens to put the holdback bar in. Safety checker, the white jacketed guy. The yellow guy's telling the pilot, hold the brakes. This guy over here is asking you how much you weigh. Now, you said you weighed 38,000 pounds. By holding this up, he wants to know if that is still a good number. Now, the system has got basically a 1,500 pound window. So, if you're 39.5 or 37.5, you're in that window, 38,000. Okay? If it's not, then they have to recalculate how much steam you're getting. The heart and soul of this whole thing this piston, this valve right here. This is what sets how much you're getting. The weight of the aircraft, the temperature outside, the wind we're going into, all of those are factors. You're going to set a certain amount of power, and the rest of it's going to be superheated steam. And with that, you'll get a little bit more than you need, about 6% more is all. Just kind of a little factor there in case your math was off a little. Pushing those 2 pistons down the track and accelerating you to fly. The holdback bars are unique to a type of aircraft. You cannot get the wrong one in yours. It's one of the few times that we have taken a situation that is dangerous and really coupled the fact that we can't make a mistake. Now they're bringing him up. The first guy we're going to see now, turning the electrics on, remember? Remember, it's not necessarily that we want that on so that we can go bomb somebody. It also is good for the jettison switch so we can dump whatever we have on board. Now they're going to bring him forward, drop the bar in front of the shuttle. The holdback bar will drop into a slot behind it. And now we have got the aircraft tied to the deck of the carrier. All right? Now, we're going to drop the launch bar and go into the shuttle. Meanwhile, we're putting a holdback bar into the aircraft. now into the deck, and you go to full power without holding brakes. Okay? Now, he's going to have to bring the shuttle forward to get the launch bar to the back of it, where it's a tight fit. This is not a good picture because he was straight on and it looked like the bar just went up. It actually went to the back of the shuttle. And what it did is we closed up that gap right there between the white bar and the shuttle. With the kind of force we're using, we would break that if that's not a tight fit. He's telling the pilot go to full power. When you go to full power, you check everything you check for a normal takeoff. Make sure everything's right, and when it is,
Out of here. It was in San Diego. San Diego. Not this. Oh, maybe not. They flew out of San Diego. Could have been. Actually, I know. He was out in 1989. The battleship blew up. The USS Iowa. He was on that battleship.
Like that all the time where the planes circling above the battleship.
All right, let's go over here. Actually, he was a Marine pilot when they flew off Navy aircraft carriers. Hello. Before computers, I guess. Why is that? Way before computers. Yes, sir. Oh, they got one for the hangar too.
There's a deck and a hangar. And they also got
45. So the first war was Korea for the ship, right?
Yeah, it was commissioned 10 days after the end of World War II.
That's right.
And then it was in Vietnam.
Vietnam, yeah.
Japan for 16 or 17 years.
Okay.
The first one that reported there.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
They also like
To see the private quarters?
that means that wings are out if its wings can fold.
Yeah.
You'll see where the captain's sea cabin is. That's the one you see over here. Right room cabin. Follow your parents' rules. Rule 2 applies to everyone. Have fun. You can touch any piece of equipment that you want to touch. Okay? What's Rule 1? Hey, what's Rule 1? You got it. All right. What's Rule 2? Okay. So now when you get up to the island, it's going to be a guided tour. First place you visit is primary flight control. That's when they talk about planes landing and taking off. There's going to be 2 chairs available. A boss and a boss. Anyone can sit there. Photo walk. And then you go to navigation, talk about navigating ship at sea, getting from point A to point B using celestial navigation and GPS. They talk about the charts, which is like a map. Then you go to a bridge where they steer the ship, and that's all the way up there. And once more, anyone can steer the ship. Give it an order to all of us. And there's 2 chairs available there. The commanding officer's chair and the navigator's chair. Anyone can sit there. Okay? And so Dorson's going to give you an explanation of what goes on for each spot. Save your questions for when you come down here. We'll try to answer your questions. Okay? Want to say so far? Are you guys all from San Diego? Idaho. Anybody else? So you know the Navy has SEALs, right? You know the Navy has 2 types of SEALs? And they're both trained here in San Diego? You know that? So if you go across the Bay Bridge, that's Coronado, turn left towards Silver Strand, that's where they have buds, basically underwater demolition school. That's the basic training for SEALs. Most SEALs are 2-legged SEALs. You got that? Then, you follow the coastline out to the harbor, to the sub base, you have another place where we train SEALs. These SEALs are trained to find mines. Okay? Those SEALs will, they really do have it. That's their mission. They're there to detect mines, things like that. Now, for those that are full of adventure, excitement, you become a SEAL, 2-legged type. When you finish buds, you come back aboard Midway at night. You dive off the flight deck into the ocean. Because SEALs are also taught to board ships at sea. They're also taught to swim underneath ships to basically get information about the ship. So they may be sent some harbor. Hey, we want to know on this ship, tell me what you can. Draw maps, things like that. Because every ship is unique underneath, just as it is on top. It has a sonar. It has fins to keep it stable at sea, things like that. That's part of one of the things they're going to do. So SEAL stands is what? Sea, air, and land. That's what it's there.
Hi folks, hope you're ready to learn something today. I'll go through a few safety items and then give you some more information. First of all, a couple of gentlemen do like I do and wear your glasses up on the top of your head when you're not using them. Probably be best to bring them down going up the ladders here. And that's right, I said the word ladders, but it's not like that. Anything on a ship that goes between levels is a ladder. These are steeper than you're used to, not quite as steep as a step ladder, and have narrower treads, so please use the handrails. Children go up the ladders in front of the adults, come down behind the adults. That way, if you trip, your adult is the volunteer pushes. Okay? Coming down the ladders, if you feel more comfortable, turn around and face the ladder and come down backwards, just as if it were a step ladder. Now, and again, use the handrails. Now, cell phones. Please mute your cell phones while you're inside the island structure here. very distracting. If the guy's trying to tell you about primary flight control, and suddenly somebody next to you has their phone start ringing. Even more distracting if they answer their phone. Some people have done that. And so suddenly, instead of hearing about primary flight control, they're hearing about the latest exploits of Uncle Jimmy. They didn't pay for their tickets for that. Okay, once you get up there, you'll look across the bay. There are two nuclear-powered in-service aircraft carriers over there. The one on the left is USS Abraham Lincoln. The one on the right is USS Theodore Roosevelt. Now, going up the ladders here, at the top of the third ladder, you'll see a room off to one side. It has a semicircular window in it, and a mannequin operating a TV camera. That's pilot landing aid television. All landings, all takeoffs were videotaped for training, for accident investigation, and for the pilots. If you go down to the second deck into one of the eating areas, the wardroom, the dirty shirt wardroom for officers, you'll see a black and white TV in the corner. That's pilot landing aid television. That one the pilots would use to harass each other on the quality of their landings. You'll spot those in several different places here, including Combat Information Center, the Tactical Flag Command Center for the Admiral. They're spotted all around. And if you stop and look at one of those things, that's actual footage of aircraft landing on the Midway on February 17th of 1991. I know because they're all date time stamped using a Julian date. And the Julian date means instead of January, February, March, they start out with the number 1 for January 1st and end up with the number 365 or 366 for leap year for December 31st. So you have to stop and count the months and figure out, okay, what does that date mean? And these all say 048. That equates to February 17th. And they're pretty interesting to watch. You'll see it looks like the plane's coming directly at you. That's because there are two cameras embedded in the flight deck out here. And they see it coming in directly at the camera. Then they switch to this guy you're going to see up here. And he follows the plane as it gets pulled to a stop by the arresting gear. And then make sure that the tail hook is brought back up. The wings start folding. And he'll zoom in on the plane's number on the side so they know what aircraft it was. Then you'll see he's showing the deck here. What's it skittering across? He's following the arresting gear cable. Going, folks, go on up and enjoy yourselves. I love that. I've never in the zoo too. Yeah, it's chubby you. Now those are all, these benches are all sponsored. I was down on the second deck once and I had this family come through, these two little girls with very pretty dresses, and they were posing them on a bench, taking shots. Finally one of the adults came over and said, that's their grandfather's bench. Oh, that's cool. Oh, wow. Hello, kitty. Let's put it over there. Let's see.
Why is this one still so narrow?
I don't want you to hurt yourself again. Right in there, please. Afternoon, sir. You ready? Anybody behind you? No? That's your group. Okay. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Gaskell. I'm a retired Navy fighter pilot, and you are standing in the control tower of USS Midway. Just like Lindbergh Field over here has its own control tower, so do we. There's some differences though. Their runway is 12,000 feet long, our runway is 1,000 feet long. The people that run this show up here are the air boss and the mini boss. Both of these senior officers are usually post-command commanders, the rank of commander, and they are responsible for everything that goes on the flight deck, takeoffs and landings. The boss himself is usually preoccupied with the landing part of the operation. The mini boss is primarily occupied with the takeoff portion. Since our runway is only 1,000 feet long, we can't stop and put the brakes on or reverse thrust. We got to figure out another way to stop. And the way we do that is with an arresting gear. I'll talk about that in a second. The way we get the airplanes off the ship is we hook them up to a catapult and literally throw them off the front of the ship. Okay, this board back here is a status board. It's usually swung around so that the air boss can see it, and behind it there's an enlisted man that's writing all the names of the air crew and the aircraft that are airborne, so he knows what's going on. The long area over here underneath the windows with the plexiglass covered, that's where people that are called the tower flowers hang out. Tower flowers are usually junior officers from the individual squadrons that are what you would call subject matter experts on the particular airplane. And the reason they're there is if, let's say, be careful up there, son. Say the boss gets a call from somebody in the air saying, I've got a hydraulic failure, and for instance, it's an F4. The boss may not be an F4 pilot. He would spin around and say, F4 rep. And the F4 rep would come up and say, I've got an F4 airborne with a hydraulic failure. What are his restrictions? Well, the tower flower is supposed to know what those restrictions are, and he tells the boss. Let's use the example of that hydraulic failure. Hydraulic failure usually means the airplane has no brakes, so it can't taxi on the flight deck on its own power because it can't stop. So the boss would now be able to call down to the flight deck and say, get a tractor ready, because when that airplane comes to a stop, we need to pull him clear so the next guy can land. Talking about how he gets stopped, the arresting gear consists of 3 wires, big cables about this big around, that are stretched across the flight deck. The airplane comes around with his hook down, he touches down, that hook grabs one of those wires, and he rolls out 340 feet. Now, what if the airplane is a fast and heavy airplane as opposed to a light and slow airplane? Well, the restriction or the resistance that are set on those wires is set down in the individual arresting gear engine rooms. So the enlisted aviation bosun's mate, the boss would say F4 in the groove, which means there's an F4 coming aboard. The bosun's mate would call down to the engine rooms and say there's an F4 coming aboard. What those people down in those engine rooms would do is they would set the resistance on that wire so that every airplane, regardless of its speed, regardless of its weight, would roll out 340 feet at about the same deceleration rate. When those settings are set, they're repeated right here on this board. You can see 1 wire, 2 wire, 3 wire, and the barricade. So that bosun's mate is looking to verify and assuring the boss that everything's set up for this next airplane to land. The only other thing I'm going to talk about is the Fresnel lens, or maybe you've heard the term meatball. That's the way the pilot controls his glide slope. Unfortunately, you can't actually see. The Fresnel lens is covered up because they're doing construction over there. But the way it works is, if you look, there is a source light, and then there's a horizontal row of green lights. If, as the pilot's coming down, if that light is centered up, he's on glide slope. Otherwise, he's either high or low. So that's that. Now what we're going to do, we're done, so we got to go to the next room. We're going to go to the chart room. So if you'll follow me, we're going to go to the chart room.
Yeah.
Okay, hands on the rails, watch yourself going down. Only one flight of stairs here.
No, Franco, I'm gonna hit on you, because I'm gonna on you on you.
Got a traffic jam.
Whoa. Ow. You took it straight down. How do you? How? We go through here.
Nope, stay here.
Are you the last one? Or you're not? Sorry.
Huh? Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Are you last? Okay. All right, folks. Right here, we're standing in the chart room. This is where all the charts, the surface charts. Well, I guess we're not going yet. Any more people coming? Okay. This is where the charts are maintained for the operational area where the ship is going to operate. We have on display 3 charts. One of the charts over here, underneath this glass, is of Subic Bay in the Philippines. That was a major repair facility and Liberty Port during the Vietnam War. All the ships that were fighting the Vietnam War would go into Subic Bay for replenishment. The other chart over here is San Diego Bay. That's where we're sitting right now. And the third chart is Yokosuka, Japan. Midway was what's called forward deployed in Japan for quite a few years. Instead of coming back to the States, it would go to Japan to stay. And okay, so this area is run by the ship's navigator and the quartermasters that work underneath him. The quartermasters are the enlisted guys. If you look at the chart, you'll see a line that's drawn on each one of these charts. That's the track that the captain and the navigator want the ship to take to get in and out of the port, the area that they're going to. So the only thing we have to do now is find out, are we on that line? And the way we do that is with 4 different types of navigation techniques. The first 2 I'll talk about is called piloting, visual piloting and radar piloting. The way visual piloting works is there are enlisted men set around the ship, and they're looking through a telescope that's on a compass, and they are pointing at a known feature on that particular chart. It might be a lighthouse, it might be the top of a mountain, it might be a schoolhouse, but they're at different angles away from the ship. And when he says mark, those guys call in to the navigation bridge what the bearing is. The bearing is to those at least 3 different stations. The more the merrier. If you look at the chart, you'll see those little X's on the chart. Those are as a result of the fixes that are taken. So in other words, if I look at a point that's on this bearing, I look at another one that's on this bearing, I look at another one that's on this bearing. If you think about it, where all those lines intersect, that's where I am. And so, then you put the mark on the chart, and that's a fix. Now, what if you're coming in and the weather's down? You can't see the land, but you still have to get into dock. Then you use what's called radar piloting. Radar piloting is they're actually using the radar return that they're seeing, and again, they will identify a prominent feature on that radar, and radars are real good for range information, the distance from that point. They're not that good for heading information. So the way that works is they will take bearings based on that feature, and instead of drawing a line, what they'll do is they'll draw an arc at that range. Say 15 miles to that point, 25 miles to that point, 16 miles to that point. Where those arcs intersect on the chart is where you are. Now, what if we're out in the middle of the ocean and there is no land to look at, no prominent features? Well, then we use what they used to use anyway, is celestial navigation. The way celestial navigation works is there is a sextant underneath the plexiglass on this chart, and there's a chart of one underneath this guy's arms over here. And during dawn and at dusk, when you can see both the horizon and a star or a planet, they will take that sextant and they'll measure the angle, and they've got a big book that tells them based on that angle at that time of day, that's where you are. Now the other 2 piloting techniques, the accuracy is about 100 feet. The celestial navigation is 1 to 3 miles, but who cares? You're out in the middle of the ocean, you're not going to hit anything. So 1 to 3 miles is just fine. Now the last form of navigation is radio navigation. These are either land-based or space-based transmitters. They used to use Loran and Omega, which they don't use anymore, to take the radio fix coming from those stations. The last and most accurate way is with GPS. When GPS first came out, it was put aboard Midway, and there weren't that many satellites on board. And that navigation, or that accuracy, was good to about 30 meters. That's when it first came out. When Midway was decommissioned in 1992, enough additional satellites had been launched that navigation came down to about 1 meter. Now the punchline is, that cell phone you got in your pocket, that's good to about 1 foot. So that's how far we've come with GPS navigation. Our next stop is going to be the flight bridge, where the movement of the ship is controlled. If you'll follow me.
Set up next circle.
On the way.
The area we're standing right now is called the Vulture's Row. It gets that nickname because the only people that are actually able to watch flight operations happening were people that had jobs to do down there on the flight deck. If you were a guy that worked in the kitchen and you wanted to see what's going on, you could come up here and watch what's going on. That's why you can imagine why they call it Vulture's Row. This is what they're looking for, maybe something nasty to happen to an airplane coming forward. Still got a traffic jam. I answer any questions while we're standing here? Must mean I gave a pretty good brief, huh?
How long have you been here?
This is my first day.
First day?
The first day as a docent, yeah. I just got done. I just finished training last week. Okay, come on in, folks. You want to be the captain of the ship? Get in that chair then. Okay, we can skirt out over here to inside the pilot house. Okay, folks, we are standing on the navigation bridge. This is where the captain works. The captain's chair is sitting right over here with this young junior captain is sitting here right now. He is a rank of captain and he runs the ship. He runs the ship. This whole area up here, the navigation bridge, is where the movement of the ship is controlled. He's also working with the gator or the navigator who sits in that other chair over there. Both of the captain of the ship and the navigator are naval aviators. The captain has to be a tailhook naval aviator. In other words, he has to have operated on and off aircraft carriers. The gator doesn't necessarily have to be a tailhook aviator. He just has to be a senior commander in one of the other communities in the Navy. Now, assisting the captain are three officers. The officer of the deck, the junior officer of the deck, and the junior officer of the watch. The officer of the deck, the captain actually designates him as the officer of the deck in writing, which means he has the authority to speak with the voice of the captain in controlling the ship. The captain has to go down and have dinner. He can't be on the bridge or out in the middle of the ocean. We're not conducting flight operations. He might say to the officer of the deck, OOD, you have the con, which means you have control of the ship. So he might be a junior lieutenant, but he is the man. He's the man that's sending commands on how to operate the ship. up front here we have 2 surface search radars, and they keep track of the traffic, anything that is within radar range of the ship. Officer of the deck will be monitoring that. His assistants, the junior officer of the deck and junior officer of the watch, are backing him up and making sure that everything is clear. The officer of the deck, once you get that designation, it's a pretty big deal in the Navy because it actually goes into your service jacket and it helps for promotion, especially for the surface warfare officers. Back here, this plexiglass board is called the skunk board. It's called that because it's surface contacts unknown. And that just maintains a plot of contacts that we don't know who they are, but we need to know if they're getting close. And so there's a enlisted man standing back there keeping track, and he's also keeping track of what may be a closest point of approach, which means if we maintain those same headings, we might hit. So when we're on a collision bearing, it may be 10 miles away, but the person maintaining the skunk board will call to the captain.
Fly over.
Second.
Next group, please.
So anyway, if the captain gets a call that we have a closest point of approach 20 miles, he's not going to be in the stateroom anymore. He's going to be sitting in that chair, giving command. Now back here, you'll see there's it's like a brass hat with a red ball and a green ball. That's called a binnacle. Underneath that brass hat is a magnetic compass. Standing behind that is the actual steering wheel of the ship called the helm. And there's an enlisted man standing back there, and he is literally controlling the heading of this ship. Now that kid, like I say, he might be 18, 19 years old, and a year ago he might have been driving a tractor in Iowa. Now he's steering a 69,000 ton warship. So that's the heading, that controls the heading. Over here on the right, covered up with brass, is called the lee helm. The young man over here is the helmsman. He's assisted by the lee helmsman. That's like the accelerator pedal for this ship. He doesn't actually control the speed, but he sends commands down to the engine rooms using the dials on that console right there to determine how fast the ship goes. The captain may say, I need 30 knots. I need the ship to go 30 knots. I need 30 knots of wind over the deck. So they would send commands down to the engine room and 30 knots would be set. Now, as we leave this area, you'll be able to see over here on the right side or the starboard side kind of an expanded area in the navigation bridge. That's called AUX-CON, auxiliary con. That area of the navigation bridge is used for anchoring operations, for tying up to a pier operations, or underway replenishment. Underway replenishment is the way that a Navy ship receives fuel, supplies, ordnance, people while the ships are at sea. There's a picture on the back of the pilot house here where you can see an aircraft carrier being underway replenished at sea. Now, also as we leave, you're going to see a small stateroom with a bed in it. That is the captain's at-sea cabin. When this ship is out underway or conducting flight operations, the captain does not want to be very far away from his command station. So when he's trying to get some sleep, he's not going to be down on the second deck down low. He's going to be in that bed over there. So if he needs to be called up, he can get up here in a hurry. I want to thank you folks for doing the island tour. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you follow me, I'm going to go down with you this time because I got to eat lunch.
Come on in, folks. There's another channel for you. Gotta get them entertained.
Oh yeah, I gotta go in front of you.
Captain's cabin.
Yeah.
It's even got a TV in there. It's even got a TV in there for VHS for the remote time.
Yep.
from this
All right,
now.
take it right.
I don't have any headphones. I guess I can't go back. I don't have the audio. It's like a little rocky. It's like a little it's not guided. Well, that's the hanger down there. I'm really good with the hanger down there.
Little commander carrier. Oh, he doesn't look king size, oh, it's one size bad.
And it's on TV and a radio.
Oh, look at that bathroom. Oh my gosh. And 2 night tables. Why do you have 2 night tables? For one person.
Yeah, the lady friend. You've been really good. Can you see this? Maybe.
That's not
Yeah, this is just the war room. I know.
It's where the officers eat.
Yeah, there's old cocaine. This is a captain's building? Yeah, this is a regular right here. Oh, yeah? Yeah, there's chief's mess, officer's mess, oh, yeah, I know that.
Look right here.
There's the owner. There he is. That's your admin officer, actually.
Looks like the little kitchen.
As you walk into the space, try and visualize what it was like early that morning as missiles started to fly, as airplanes started to turn up on the plane, and launch the attack that ultimately defeated Saddam Hussein and built Iraqi forces. Greetings and welcome aboard. My name is Rear Admiral Dan March. I'm retired from the Navy now. The USS Midway was my flagship in early 1990. That you're standing in this strike operations that commenced on January. Built up with that protection as well as a shield, natural combat operation. The squadron was always there for rain.
These attacks continued as ice covered. Now, the 28 countries with forces in the Gulf area have exhausted all reasonable efforts to reach a peaceful resolution. Have no choice but to drive silently away by.
Hold on, we have to wait for. Yeah, we don't have to go.
Saudi Arabia.
Wait. Like when I press these ones, stuff changes up going.
Something is happening outside. The skies over Baghdad have been illuminated. We're seeing bright flashes going off all over the sky. Here. Now the sirens are sounding for the first time. The liberation of Kuwait has begun. In conjunction with the forces of our coalition partners, the United States is coordinating Operation Desert Storm to enforce the mandates of the United Nations Security Council. As of 7 o'clock p.m., Operation Desert Storm forces were engaging targets in Kuwait and Iraq.
It says headphones this way. Let's go this way.
UHF can go, no, in a straight line it's not an over the horizon, it's just short of the horizon. Like say it's 30 miles, atmospheric conditions pending for UHF. VHF is like at the horizon at 35 miles, and of course HF bounce it off the ionosphere, on the surface of the planet, you know, almost something ringing.
You're gonna try and pick up that phone. Give him a call.
Remember kids, daytime high, nighttime low.
Oh, I gotta take it. We're gonna find the bridge and throw you in it. How's that? What'd you do?
Is this like the phone lines where you would disconnect it, put it in a different, to get this person on the line with the other person?
That looks like a freaking Mario Party, like, once you get it right, the same you go.
it's off. Everyone's dead. How would they leave?
I got so good that I could read code faster than I could. Sometimes I would even read in code.
S.
O S. So it's
Okay.
3. Yep,
Did I get it right?
probably.
Not the bridge, the bridge.
No, I'm gonna squash you. Could you put me in a place? That's because I'm putting... No!
No, I'm just picking you up, girl. Come here. I know you're ready.
So is this the first game?
Give me an update from engineering. Oh, hello. And welcome to the captain's cabin. I'm getting caught up on some paperwork and have to get up to the bridge. It's great to have you as part of my cabin. I understand you've seen a fair share of our floating city here. You know, we have over 4,500 sailors, chiefs, and officers aboard. It's my job to see that they're trained and ready to meet every mission we're called to do. On the USS Midway, the buck stops right here with me. At the end of the day, I'm responsible for the Admiral and ultimately our Commander-in-Chief for everything that takes place on this ship, under some of the most challenging conditions you can imagine.
No, that's real.
It's a job that allows
That's
precious
real.
little sleep. In fact, sometimes I catch a few weeks up in the island when we're at sea. Being captain really comes down to motivating each of my sailors to do their jobs to the very best of their abilities. From engineering to communications, I have to mold thousands of individuals in the middle of the ocean into a single functioning team. I have to inspire them every day, rise above personal issues, being away from their families.
There's another kitchen.
It's for the captain.
Looks like the captain, like Coca-Cola. All of these kitchens have a bunch of cans of Coca-Cola. The music is coming from that. Oh, right there. It's like outside of that. Outside the first one. Oh, this is where we are.
all the landings. We're going to come to your ready room.
Oh, that's how they landed.
That's great. You get it. It's okay. The other parameters for a successful landing. You've got to be on the center line, white and yellow line, and center ball, and on airspeed all the way down. That's it. Okay? Those are the 3 parameters. Okay? Bottom cell is red. You don't want to be there. Okay? Turn aircraft.
Almost landed on the deck, broke the wire.
See how much colors it has. The ceiling is so high.
It's not working. feel like we've done this already.
I guess that's the thing about the missile trap. I don't even know what that is compared to that. You've got doesn't matter.
Based on the F-86. Looks like it only had 4 machine guns as opposed to 6.
Chris saw this.
You see that there's really big toys. You see some hidden. Look how much hallways there is. And all of the watertight doors. Like, oh, this is so hidden from everybody that comes here. Just some random things. Like a living room kind of maybe. Another one with the exact same thing.
Yeah, so again, commanding officer is safe room.
So an ultra water sleeping so high.
Even the exo will actually share.
He's sleeping right now.
What's up, Mike? There's that meat?
That was the grand, that's, that rated them is what they did on the landing. They rated the landing in the Potato. It's the biggest. That number one was in yellow. And this is your black. Oh, wow. Oops. Sort of showed the world how good they were.
Now, what happens in training if they miss it? I mean, are they going to just like, is there any safety things that catches them?
Well, they gotta go around.
No, yeah, because when they hit the deck, to catch the cable, they're at full throttle.
Okay.
And they can feel, if they didn't catch, they can go around because they're at full throttle. If they weren't, they'd go in the water. And if they catch, then they let off.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, way back in the day.
Yeah, for sure.
During downtime to recreate?
Yeah, they would come in and do their thing.
Put movies on?
Yeah, but they had a mess hall for that. I'll take you down to the next one.
It's a little fast.
Yeah, I was the owner, so I mean, I tried out the.
This helicopter display area. So it shows you the history of helicopters.
I worked at the boneyard after I left Kirtland.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
And so my little girl was just talking, and she was, when I take her to daycare, we go through the boneyard, right? Airplanes, airplanes, airplanes. And she looks at the helicopter, she goes, airplanes. And I go, no, helicopters, airplanes have wings. And then she mentioned it, airplanes have wings, airplanes have wings.
How old's your oldest son?
She'll be 21 in May. Yeah. Yeah, I have two. I have a 14-year-old and a 8-year-old. Yeah, they're not long. Was that pregnant? I know, we just started contract negotiations when I found out. Yeah.
Welcome to Tag 5 Spaces aboard the USS Midway. I'm Captain Tom Finley, the Air Wing Commander aboard Midway. People refer to me simply as TAG, that's short for Carrier Air Wing Group. And I'm responsible for the Admiral for making sure that all the airplanes on this ship do their job when they're launching off the dock. Welcome to the Midway Naval Industry.
Yesterday? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's where she was.
Oh, I think it's the black one.
But they have their police station.
Aber hier merkst du erst, hier kam erst die Maschine, dann die Menschen, ne? Das muss hier ein halbes Jahr also sind ewig auf der Mission, ne? Kein Kontakt zur Außenwelt, ne? Ich glaube nicht, oder? Internet, oder? Hast du schon mal so Morde oder einen Brief schicken? Kannst du dir auch einen Brief schicken, wenn ihr unter Wasser ruft? Also, ja, stimmt. Man geht nicht zu Parallel, oder? Was ist denn hier Funkstation?
Hey boss, I'm back. Hey, I'm only showing 3K give airborne. We're gonna need to launch the...
I'm way ahead of you. I got 510 headed to Cat 1 as we speak.
Oh, that's the air traffic control center. It's like the one in that. So it's like the one in that big tower at the airport.
Right.
Because they gotta see where all of the aircrafts
David, look at the Christmas menu.
Oh, here, Alex says it here. This is right back. A friend. This is an aircraft, a friendly aircraft, a friendly surface ship, or a sub.
So these are, this would be the plane.
The unknown.
Yep.
So if they go with this, they don't know. And if it's like this, they're hostile. So
And just question whether or not it's friendly.
Okay, so there's squares.
Oh,
So unknown surface ship. So the square. See the squares? And then we see all the circles. There's surface ships. That means ones that are floating on the surface, like the boat we're on, right? And then underneath.
So this was during the, like this was, right.
Regular and unknown.
you see the water.
It's not a problem.
At the back of the ship. It's the back of the front.
Where we came in.
How strong those ones are to lift up.
Did you say the weight of each one to us?
Nate.
How much did you say the weight of one thing? 156.
Look at this. This has to be where the non-important people sleep.
Yes.
The non-important people, just a bunch of bunk beds and lockers. And then people like the first officers get whole entire hotel rooms to themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Those would be the best
We're gonna have bad dreams
non-important
and wake up in the middle of the night. Sitting around in your underwear. Maybe my shoes could be.
Oh, you get right there.
Yeah. Hey.
I can lie down in the...
I guess you don't need to get your uniform.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay, go.
I'm gonna get the bottom bunk. There's not a mattress. Okay, they really hated these people. They're not important. They're if everybody hates your beds. Oh, but that's cool. You can lift up your bed and you'll store stuff there.
Never sleep facing another man. Look at this, is what it used to look like. So never sleep facing another man. If you come back to you're done. We were always too hot and too cold. Sometimes we go sleep with a blanket and with a stripping and stuff.
So in some boats, particular submarines, you do what's called a raft.
We found that.
Fortunately, I never had to do that. And that's exactly how it was, right?
We got water leak boys. Yeah. You want to get Swigger Way? There you go. They call it
Air shade.
That's another sweet VHS tape from your boy.
Yeah.
For the people with virus now.
Oh,
Like,
that's what he's here.
look at all the things you got from France. This is the best
You
stuff.
come back.
Let's
Oh, okay, that's what I'm saying. Go buy something. All that stuff. Movies, food, like just random. These are blues. Yeah, I want to run wire.
Oh, this is it. Yeah, go. Keep walking.
Where we came out, where we started, so we sat here to play that.
You got a lot of address here. We could click on
Essa negociação não foi.
connected.
Smell it, and she wasn't even there. I was like, that's Peyton. She's somewhere here. She drilled it. She was all the way up at the light, and I was over on the I was like, God. That was so strong. I left it trail over. It's weird. So she would be probably easy to find.
Imagine what the dogs smell all the time. Like,
Smell kind of funny.
that's why Molly likes her.
Yes.
Come this way?
We're trying to get out. There's like money on face.
Deadwood.
Well, it's not. It's not, but that's what it's supposed to be.
Pay attention.
Pay attention!
Okay.
Oh, who is this?
Are you gonna make a video of that, Daddy?
No, we don't. You know
That's the last one. That was a tour accident. Yeah.
There's a Deptford and a Lillinger.
The difference I've noticed is like the original E2s got 4-bladed propellers. The latest E2s have got 6-bladed propellers. I think they're the differences. E2C.
How many meals per day were served aboard the Midway? 13,000, 10,000, 2,000, 6,000.
Oh, I didn't read that time.
We can go back and listen to it. Or something, you would have to go down and like unclog the sewage. Yeah. And you put the suit on the it's like a go through it. It's like this high.
It's the barber shop.
Food service, all of our second galleries throughout the day. Barber shop, supply department, leadership always strives to provide the best customer service they can to improve.
But the supply and the supply department as a whole, I would tell you that probably interacts with the supply department more than any other department in traffic there. I probably rely on the supply officer, his area of expertise, his staff, as much as I'm
does.
Just walk with your hand on your head. Watch your head. Bend.
We're still looking for
Oh, yeah, that's what the big
Yo, man.
Yo, man. Yo, man. Okay, good. You always find melee. Okay, good. We assign ourselves. Another one.
This is a side trip. This is a side trip.
I'm pretty sure we all get older stuff here. Weapons elevator. Bring the weapons up and down. Any person. You see any weapons?
Welcome to a torpedo.
Yeah. I think it was what time? 3 years ago?
Something like that. I think.
It's very recent. It was post COVID. You want to go down there? Oh yeah, we got that. Yeah, we were at least we put 1 more hour. Oh, there's some nice.
Terry Rayback with the Design CNC and today.
¿Del juego?
It's a hot tub.
Do you like stand in it? You like stand in it?
Sit in it.
Or sit in it?
it is down here, you really, because people, you could go one way, like back in there, you know? I mean, it's just like everybody comes towards you. Thank you, have you been to the flight yet?
Did we see everything yet?
Yeah, I think we did.
Goddamn thing's massive.
I know. Like that with the stairwell leads to literally all over the ship. I'm still listening to an audio tour that I scanned all the way down there. That
Came back to work the next day.
Well, our wedding is next week, but officially.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
Snap on one side. And the other side starts. It's like, son of